This is our finished project. We're going to be making a gumball machine that is a little bit 3D, a little bit shiny, and based on looking at a real-life gumball machine. Let's take a look at a real-life thing. This is a gumball machine, or, well, in this case it's a jelly bean machine, but you've probably seen these before at restaurants or in the mall. And machines like this have different parts. There's a globe that has the candy inside. There's usually a top to that globe. And then there's the base or the body, which has a faceplate, and it has a hole for the coins to go in and a knob. And the way this machine works is that you put a coin in, you turn the knob, and a candy comes out, usually at the bottom. Mine was on its side, so it was a little silly. So usually it comes out here at the bottom. So there's like a little tray here for the candy to come out. So this is our gumball machine that we're going to be basing our project off of. We're going to make gumballs that go in the globe. We're going to make a top, and we're going to make a base and a faceplate. When you have your paper plate, you'll want to make sure that it is the eating side down. This side has like a shiny, slippery texture on it. This side is more of a paper feel. This is the side we want to do our art on. So our name goes on the back, on the inside with a Sharpie. When that's done, you are ready to start painting. We're going to be doing some dot art paint today. To do dot art, you want to open the tool and you want to give it a little shake if it wasn't shook up before, and then you'll press down and do a dot. Now, sometimes when we first start using these, just like you saw, it didn't come out right away, but you can do a couple dots in the same paint and make it work. Then from then on, it should work okay. You are going to be kind of pressing down that 3D space when you first are starting, especially around the edges. We want to fill our gumball machines, but we want to fill it in a realistic way. What does that mean? It means that we are not having gumballs all the way up to the very top unless we plan to fill the gumball machine all the way up to the top. Because gumballs, just like everything else in the world, are affected by gravity. So we want to make sure that you are spacing them out with your colors so they have a little chance to dry. Now be careful. I'm noticing that as I'm kind of going fast here, I'm ending up with some that are looking wonky. And if that happens to you, you can have like a giant gumball in your machine, or you can look like several of them together. So try to make sure you're going down and up, nice and straight, because we're not making weird shapes. We're trying to make circles. When you're happy with your gumball machine, it's time to put it on the drying rack and let it dry. I'm ready to start drawing the parts for my gumball machine part. So I'm going to start with making the top of the gumball machine. So I notice that this is a straight line. When we look at this from the side, it's a straight line at the bottom. And so I'm going to, near the top of my red paper, but not at the top, I'm going to make a straight line going across with a Sharpie. Now I notice that this on the edge is curved, and then there's like a little knob or a bump at the top. So I'm going to plan to put my Sharpie back at the beginning over here. I'm going to make a curve, but not quite up to the top. And then about halfway through, I'm going to make a bump at the top. And then I'm going to continue all the way over. Okay, so I've got a curve and a bump and a straight line and a curve down to there. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I'm going to hop down here to the bottom. I'm going to have these two pieces connected, even though in the real life one, there's glass in the way. We're going to cut this apart later. So right now, we're just going to hop right here, and we're going to draw this part right here. So what do I want us to notice? Let's start at the bottom now. Do you notice that this is wider than the part up there? So what do? So we're going to notice that it comes in like little steps. In. Okay, so straight line in, up again, straight line in, straight line in, and then it comes in a little bit at a diagonal. So not straight up and down and not like way triangle, but just a little bit smaller than the edge of the paper. Sometimes it's helpful to come and make a little guide. I want it to be this far in, which is a little bit in, but not like super far. Okay, so then I'm going to draw that diagonal line connecting that little mark to that stair. And now I'm going to echo or repeat what I did over here on this side, because guess what? It's the same. Here I go. I'm going to set that off to my side. Step approximately the same height in. Step in, up, in. And I can even use my fingers to help me measure. About that big on this side, about that big. Same size. And then I'm going to diagonal line down. There's the beginning of my really cool machine. All right, what else do we need? Well, I see there's a big rectangle. So at the top, I'm going to draw a big rectangle. What else do we have? In that rectangle, there's a circle. And below that circle is this knob or the dial. What shape is that? It's kind of a half circle, a bump, and another little teardrop circle with the bump. Almost looks like a bow tie. Do you see that? Looks like a bow tie. And down here at the bottom, I've got this hump or this line that makes the tray where the candy comes out. All right, so I'm going to make that line here. And then above that line, I'm going to make a black space because that's where the candy has to come out. And if your marker's starting to run low, let's just use it up. So go slow, maybe go on top of itself, color a couple of times, and it can make it nice and black, even if it's starting to run low. Now I want you to hop back up here. Let's spend a minute looking for details. Do you see anything fancy? Any details you would like to draw? Let's try. That's what I saw. Did you see something different? That's okay. Now that I've drawn some details, I'm ready for some Silver-Sharpie. Silver-Sharpies are really fun because they show up bright and shiny on your paper. Think about where you would like Silver-Sharpie and where it makes sense to do it. So when we color silver, we should get some shiny, bright things. We don't want to cover up those details that we saw though, so be careful because the silver will cover over the black. If that happens, you can redraw your black lines on top of the silver, but it's not going to show up quite as bright as it did on the red, so just be careful. When you're happy with your work, it's time to cut it out. First job, you want to cut the lid off of the base. And we want to cut the lid out. Remember, keep your scissors straight ahead, turn the paper. All right. Now here comes the kind of tricky part. We're not cutting out all the different parts. We're just cutting out the outside part. So this is outside of the base. This is outside of the base. But the base is going to all stay together. So we're not cutting all of the lines. We're just cutting the outside lines. This is a little tricky. But again, keep your scissors straight ahead and turn the paper. Sometimes it's easier to start from the edge. and do little cuts. So now we should have a pile of trash, the base, and a lid. And we're ready to glue these together. You'll need a glue stick. The lid should go at the top of the globe where there aren't any gumballs. If you have gumballs all the way up to the top, I guess it's your choice. But I like to put it on the top and then sort of rub it in place so it stays. If you don't rub, the glue might come off. I noticed that a lot with our quilts, is that we weren't really rubbing and our glue came loose. Then the base also gets glued to the globe. Put the glue just at the very tippy top of the base on the back. Then line it up with the globe and again rub. When that's glued, you can take your photo. But remember, this is a weird 3D object, and so when you take your photo, think about what's behind it. Don't put it on a messy table with all your art supplies visible, because it's hard to have a nice photo where you can concentrate on your beautiful art. Put it on the floor or on a table with there's no stuff on it. So find a clear table to take a photo so we can see the whole thing, or better yet, put it on the floor so we're not distracted by the things behind it.